can be no new dawn of the heart. No sun can gild its cold and cheerless horizon. No breeze can revive pulses that have long since ceased to throb with any chance of emotion. I am too old to feel freshness in this nipping air. It chills me more than the damps of night, to which I am accustomed. Night, midnight, is my season of delight. Nature is instinct then with the secrets dark and dread. There is a language which he who sleepeth not, but will wake and watch, may haply learn. Strange organs of speech hath the invisible world. Strange language doth it talk. Strange communion hold with him who would pry into its mysteries. It talks by bat and owl, by the grave worm and each crawling thing, by the dust of graves, as well as by those that rot therein. But ever doth it discourse by night, and specially when the moon is at the full. 'Tis the lore I have then learned that makes that season dear to me. Like your cat, mine eye expands in darkness. I blink at the sunshine, like your owl. Cease this forbidding strain, returned Luke. It sounds as harshly as your own screech owl's cry. Let your thoughts make a more sprightly turn, more in unison with my own and the fair aspect of nature. Shall I direct them to the gipsies' camp, then? Said Peter with a sneer. Do your own thoughts tend thither? You are not altogether in the wrong, replied Luke. I was thinking of the gipsies' camp, and of one who dwells amongst its tents. I knew it, replied Peter. Did you hope to deceive me by attributing all your joyousness of heart to the dawn? Your thoughts have been wandering all this while upon one who hath, I will engage, a pair of shoe-black eyes, an olive skin, and yet withal a clear tone, black, yet comely as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon, a mesh of jetty hair that hath entangled you in its network, ripe lips, and a cunning tongue, one of the plagues of Egypt. Ha, ha! You've guessed shrewdly, replied Luke. I care not to own that my thoughts were so occupied. I was assured of it, replied the sexton. And what may be the name of her towards whom your imagine was straying? Sibila Perez, replied Luke. Her father was a Spanish gitano. She's known amongst her people by her mother's name of Lovel. She's beautiful, of course. Ay, very beautiful. But no matter. You shall judge of her charms anon. I will take your word for them, returned the sexton. And you love her? Passionately. You are not married? asked Peter, hastily. Not as yet, replied Luke, but my faith is plighted. Heaven be praised! The mischief is not then irreparable. I would have you married, though not to a gipsy girl. And whom would you select? One before whom Sybil's beauty would pale as stars at day's approach. There lives not such one. Trust me, there does. Eleanor Mowbray is lovely beyond parallel. I was mere speculating upon a possibility when I wished her yours. It is scarcely likely she would cast her eyes upon you. I shall not heed her neglect. Graced with my title, I doubt not, were it my pleasure to seek a bride amongst those of gentle blood, I should not find all indifferent to my suit. Possibly not. Yet what might weigh with others would not weigh with her. There are qualities you lack which she has discovered in another. In whom? In Ranulph Rookwood. Is he her suitor? I have reason to think so. And you would have me abandon my own betrothed love to beguile from my brother his destined bride? That were to imitate the conduct of my grandsire, the terrible Reginald, towards his brother Alan. The sexton answered not, and Luke fancied he could perceive a quivering in the hands that grasped his body for support. There was a brief pause in their conversation. And who is Eleanor Mowbray? asked Luke, breaking the silence. Your cousin, on the mother's side of Rookwood. 'Tis therefore I would urge your union with her. There is a prophecy relating to your house, which seems as though it would be fulfilled in your person and in hers. When the stray rook shall perch on the topmost bough, there shall be clamour and screaming, I trow, but of right and of rule of the ancient nest, the rook that with rook mate shall hold him possessed. I place no faith in such fantasies, replied Luke, and yet the lines bear strangely upon my present situation. Their application to yourself and Eleanor Mowbray is unquestionable, replied the sexton. It would seem so, indeed, rejoined Luke, and he again sank into abstraction, from which the sexton did not care to rouse him. The aspect of the country had materially changed since their descent of the hill. In place of the richly cultivated district which lay on the other side, a broad brown tract of wasteland spread out before them, covered with scattered patches of gorse, stunted fern, and low brushwood, presenting an unvaried surface of unbaked turf. The shallow coat of sod was manifested by the stones that clattered under the horse's hoofs as he rapidly traversed the arid soil, clearing with ease to himself, though not without discomfort to the sexton, every gravelly trench, natural chasm, or other inequality of ground that occurred in his course. Clinging to his grandson with the tenacity of a bird of prey, Peter for some time kept his station in security; but, unluckily, at one dyke rather wider than the rest, the horse, owing possibly to the mismanagement, intentional or otherwise, of Luke, swerved, and the sexton, dislodged from his high estate, fell at the edge of the trench, and rolled incontinently to the bottom. Luke drew in the rein to inquire if any bones were broken, and Peter presently upreared his dusty person from the abyss, and without condescending to make reply, yet muttering curses, not loud, but deep, accepted his grandson's proffered hand, and remounted. While thus occupied, Luke fancied he heard a distant shout, and noting whence the sound proceeded, the same quarter by which he had approached the heath, he beheld a single horseman spurring in their direction at the top of his speed; and to judge from the rate at which he advanced, it was evident he was anything but indifferently mounted. Apprehensive of pursuit, Luke expedited the sexton's ascent, and that accomplished, without bestowing further regard upon the object of his solicitude, he resumed his headlong flight. He now thought it necessary to bestow more attention on his choice of road, and, perfectly acquainted with the heath, avoided all unnecessary hazardous passes. In spite of his knowledge of the ground, and the excellence of his horse, the stranger sensibly gained upon him. The danger, however, was no longer imminent. "We are safe," cried Luke. "The limits of Hardchase are passed. In a few seconds we shall enter Davenham Wood. I will turn the horse loose, and we will betake ourselves to flight amongst the trees. I will show you a place of concealment. He cannot follow us on horseback, and on foot I defy him." "Stay," cried the sexton. "He is not in pursuit. He takes another course. He wheels to the right. By heaven, it is the fiend himself upon a black horse, come for bow-legged Ben. See, he is there already." The horseman had turned, as the sexton stated, careering towards a revolting object at some little distance on the right. It was a gibbet, with its grisly burden. He rode swiftly towards it, and, reining in his horse, took off his hat, bowing profoundly to the carcass that swung in the morning breeze. Just at that moment a gust of air catching the fleshless skeleton, its arms seemed to be waved in reply to the salutation. A solitary crow winged its flight over the horseman's head as he paused. After a moment's halt, he wheeled about, and again shouted to Luke, waving his hat. "As I live," said the latter, "it is Jack Palmer." "Dick Turpin, you mean," rejoined the sexton. "He has been paying his respects to a brother blade. Dick will never have the honor of a gibbet. He is too tender of the knife. Did you mark the crow? But here he comes." And in another instant Turpin was by their side. End of Chapter 1, Book 3.